Granjara Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Bhakti Vedanta purpose ki, ISKCON founder Church of Prabhupada ki, Gaura Prema, glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to Guru Gaura, to sweet Shri Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So in keeping with the theme of the 50th celebration of our founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada, the most magnanimous, the Param Guru for all time. So we're dedicating these programs, a series of programs to mark the 50 years since Prabhupada came to South Africa, especially to this in Durban during this time, October month, he appeared here. So on Sunday, the theme was, anybody remembers what he spoke? What was the theme?
The Mahatma.
The Mahatma, yes, I quoted 2 verses from Krishna defines a Mahatma in 2 verses in the Bhagavad Gita. Mahatmanastu mam partha, daivim prakritim ashita, satatam kirtayantamam. These 2 verses. Today we'll read from the Srimad Bhagavatam. It's a very, very glorious verse describing how we can serve such great souls and how we benefit, how we become beneficiaries of such service to such great souls, the Mahatmas. So I'll read this verse together. It's from the 1st canto, chapter 2, text 16. Familiar with it? Everybody can repeat after me. Shrushrisha Sadhanasya Shradanasya Vasudeva,
Vasudeva,
Kata,
Kata,
Ruchi,
Ruchi,
Srihat,
Srihat,
Mahatseva,
Mahatseva,
Vipraha,
Vipraha,
Punyatirtha,
Punyatirtha,
Nishavanat.
Nishevana.
So the verse is, this chapter is called Divinity and Divine Service. Shrushisho Sharadanasya
Shishushadanasya,
Vasudeva Kataruchi
Vasudeva Kataruchi,
Shyadma Sevaya Vipra
Sanasavaya Vipra,
Punyatirtha Nishevana.
Punyatirtha Nishevana.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. O twice-born sages, by serving those devotees who are completely free from all vice, great service is done. By such service, one gains affinity for hearing the messages of Vasudeva. Repeat after me. O twice-born sages, by serving those devotees who are completely freed from all vice, great service is done. By such service, one gains affinity for hearing the message of Vasudeva. Purport. The conditioned life of a living entity is caused by his revolting against the Lord. There are men called devas, or godly living beings, and there are men called asuras, or demons, who are against the authority of the Supreme Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita, 16th chapter, a vivid description of the asuras is given, in which it is said that the asuras are but put into lower and lower states of ignorance, life after life, and so sink to the lower animal forms and have no information of the absolute truth, the personality of Godhead. These asuras are gradually rectified to God consciousness by the mercy of God, of the Lord. Lord liberated servitors in different countries according to the supreme rule. Such devotees of Lord are this light is very bright. Such devotees of the Lord are very confidential associates of the Lord, and when they come to save human society from the dangers of godlessness, they are known as the powerful incarnations of the Lord, as sons of the Lord, or servants of the Lord, or associates of the Lord. But none of them falsely claim to be God themselves. This is blasphemy, declared by the asuras and the demoniac followers of such asuras. Also accept pretenders as God, or the incarnations in the revealed scriptures. There is a definite information of the incarnations of God. So one should be accepted as God or an incarnation of God, no one should be accepted as God and incarnation of God unless he is confirmed by the revealed scripture. Thank you. The servants of God are to be respected as God by the devotees who actually want to go back to Godhead. Such servants of God are called Mahatmas or Tirthas, and they preach according to particular time and place. The servants of God urge people to become devotees of the Lord. They never tolerate being called God. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was God himself according to the injunctions of the revealed scriptures. But he played the part of a devotee. People who knew him to be God addressed him as God, but he used to block his ears with his hands and chant the names of Lord Vishnu. He strongly protested against being called God, although undoubtedly he was God himself. The Lord behaves so to warn us against unscrupulous men who take pleasure in being addressed as God. The servants of God come to propagate God consciousness, and intelligent people should cooperate with them in every respect by serving the servant of God. One can please God more than by directly serving the Lord. The Lord is more pleased when he sees that his servants are being respected, are properly respected, because such servants risk everything for the service of the Lord, and so they are very dear to the Lord. The Lord declares in the Bhagavad Gita 1869 that no one is dearer to him than one who risks everything to preach his glory. By serving the servants of the Lord, one gradually gets the quality of such servants, and thus one becomes qualified to hear the glories of God. The eagerness to hear about God is the first qualification of a devotee, eligible for entering the kingdom of God. Thank you. Om Jnana Timandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksharam Malitam Jaina Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jaina Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Panchakalpatarobhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhyahevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavabhyo Namo Namaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 So here is the solution or the how to advance in spiritual life, how one can advance in spiritual life, and that is only through the mode or through the agency of serving, and serving not just anybody. Here it says those who are freed from vice. Those who are free, that means those who are in the pure consciousness, or those on the transcendental consciousness. Those are Vasudeva. The word Vasudeva refers to Krishna. Vasudeva can also refer to, according to the context of Vasudeva, the consciousness is also Vasudeva consciousness. So when we But how this comes about, and this is developed through faith. We hear from somebody because of the faith, we put some faith in that person by hearing from him that he won't cheat us, that he, like the symptoms given here, that one does not claim, although he's a servant of God, he does not claim to be God. Anybody who claims like that, they are bogus. They're bogus. We can judge a person's how much he speaks about Krishna. Or we can assess a person by how much he speaks about, not about himself. Generally people like to project themselves, isn't it? More than anything else, they talk more about themselves. With the ego, that is the ego, the false ego that's there. And this is all, Prabhupada makes that those who are divine suras and those who are asuras, demoniac. If you want to read about it in the 16th chapter, Prabhupada is mentioning the divine and the demoniac and the different qualities of a divine person and qualities of a demoniac person. Very, very graphically describing these different demons, how they are totally against God or the existence of God. Because they want to be the supreme. So like that in these days we may come across such persons like we have imposters and Mayavads, who decry the existence of God. There's such religion that profess such ideology that there is no God. But they want to be, as a religious sect, or recognized like such. But we know God, religion comes from God. Religion comes from God, yes. But how to understand that or how to access that is to follow those who are already in that role of accepting God. Like the Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada was completely sold out on the holy name, because the holy names are the connection to God. Without the holy names, we won't know how to connect to God. Because the holy names and God, they are non-different. They are non-different. Yes, they are the absolute. And only a person in this caliber of Mahatma, defining Mahatma, not calling somebody loosely a Mahatma. Sometimes you may joke like that. But no, what is defining a Mahatma? That is symptoms of a Mahatma. That is 100% the Drida Vrat is like fixed on Krishna consciousness, fixed on Krishna, no deviation. And at no point does he deviate, does he doubt. Sometimes we may have that kind, we may go through some difficulties and say, is God allowing these things? How can he? We may lose confidence that there can't be God. How does he do things like this? So many times we see big catastrophes in the world, isn't it? Right now we're watching that big tsunami, not tsunami, it's a hurricane. This hurricane is blowing like 180 miles an hour in Jamaica, and it's causing devastating damage. flattening, everything is coming across. Of course, we've seen tsunamis also like that. And you think, how does God allow all these things? But it's not God's doing. It is not. It's all the collective karmic reactions of the world. You know, if you look around and see how much of sinful activity goes on, how much of demoniac activities go on, then there must be some retribution for that. There must be in some way. This is the laws of nature take its course. And we cannot blame God for that. No, it's not. But God will protect his devotees. And he says in Bhagavad Gita, Parichanaya sadhunam, Vinasaya duskrita. I come to protect my devotees. Vinashaya duskrita. And same time I annihilate the miscreants, the demoniac. And same time he establishes Dharma. And this is happening on a regular basis, from time to time. Yada yada hi dharmasya, like that he's saying. Yuge yuge, every yuga, the Lord is coming, isn't it? But if the Lord doesn't come himself, then he sends empowered personalities. Shaktivesh, very, very empowered personalities on his behalf, that they come to reclaim the conditioned souls, at the same time bring hope and life, spirit, instill or remind us of our forgetful nature. This is a Mahatma. He comes to remind us of that, what we have forgotten. And what we have forgotten is that how to be a servant of God, how to serve God, rather than to be the servant, how to be the master. Surely we want to be the master. Everybody wants to lord it over material nature. That is a tendency to lord it over material nature, to exploit. So these are all demoniac qualities. And the sadhu comes to mitigate that. The sadhu or the Mahatma, he comes on behalf of God to mitigate that, and sometimes at great cost to his own life. Sometimes but it's glorious. For him it is a glorious service to die in battle. So these devotees of the Lord, they go to such trials and tribulations and such difficulties just for the purpose of saving humankind. But how to appreciate that? How to appreciate that is to appreciate such service by such great devotees. The Mahat Seva. This is great service is done when we serve such devotees. And serving can mean in different aspects. This is hearing. You are hearing, that is serving also. You're taking prasadam, that is also service. You're reading the scriptures, the revealed scripture, Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, that is service. Yes. You're chanting Hare Krishna. You're engaging in some menial service in just even cleaning the floor. Such menial service, or cleaning the temple room, cleaning the Lord's paraphernalia. That is all service, because we're doing it with love. Out of love, not for some material gain. Because we want for our own spiritual advancement. So these Mahatmas, they come with that intention, that magnanimous nature they have that is unfathomed by ordinary people. Prabhupada was small, isn't it? Prabhupada was like 5'4" or something. Very small. But he was a giant in so many ways, isn't it? A giant. So we glorify Srila Prabhupada because he opened our eyes from this timorandasya, from this darkness, from this ignorance. And he opened our eyes completely. Not that others didn't come, but others didn't have the right approach, or they may have come with some other kind of agenda. But Prabhupada came with a genuine sincerity. With no intention of cheating. No, he came with that purpose. Free from vice. Free from this false ego. Free from exploitation, exploiting people. Generally, people see a sadhu, is it? In India, it's like that. Anybody's wearing saffron, they sadhu. And Prabhupada, when he was young, was a bit little boy. His father was fond of serving such sadhus. His father was a businessman. He speaks fondly of that. His father would invite, which is that also his duty to invite the sadhus home and ply them with prasadam and gifts, isn't it? So that they can give blessings. And Prabhupada would ask them to bless his son, Prabhupada's father, to bless Prabhupada, like that. But Prabhupada, he saw another side of them. And these sadhus where they would go out after they would go out and smoke bidi and ganja and chase after women. So he had a very low esteem of such sadhus. Then when he grew up, he was approached by his friend, his cousin actually, Narendra Malik. There's a sadhu, I want you to see him. And Prabhupada was very skeptical. He said, no, not one of these. Because Prabhupada, from young, he had this esteem. And Narendra begged him, said, please come, you have to meet this sadhu. You must see him. And Prabhupada reluctantly went along. And then when they met for the first time, and this was transcendental exchange, and what to speak of that, immediately Bhaktisiddhanta, you see a picture, Bhaktisiddhanta, who later became Prabhupada's spiritual master, started to speak to them. He didn't know them he just said, you are young, intelligent boys, you should preach in the English language, get money, print books. And Prabhupada, we just met and he's giving us all this. Prabhupada, but then Prabhupada started protesting. He says, no, we're not, we are a dependent nation. We're not independent, we are in the British rule. How can we become free from that? And that was his first, because Prabhupada at that time was also a very keen follower of Gandhi. Gandhi was a nationalist hero at that time. He wanted nationalism, Indian nationalism, get the British out of India. Like that, he was trying so many political maneuvers to get rid of the British, like that. But Bhaktisiddhanta told him straight. This Krishna consciousness cannot wait for who becomes the next leader. There's a agency about Lord Chaitanya's movement, and Prabhupada was shocked. Later on, when he went home and he was pondering all these things, and he was, it made a lot of sense to him. And from that moment on, his whole mind was a transformation that, yes, I met a very saintly person. This I in that chapter of Prabhupada Leelamrita. I met a very saintly person from Prabhupada's lower esteem of sadhus. When he saw this powerful sadhu, Bhaktisiddhanta, it changed his whole consciousness. Of course, all this is Leela. It's like Prabhupada Leela. And then Prabhupada took the mission. And then Prabhupada's next question, how can I serve you? How can I serve you? And that should be the mood of all the followers of ISKCON who are following ISKCON, following the teachings of Srila Prabhupada. That should be our mood. How can I serve you? Yes. But that service will come from our humility. We have to develop this humility and tolerance, isn't it? Because we're coming from different backgrounds, and we all came with different mindsets from conditioned life. And now we're being exposed to this Krishna. Naturally, it'll be like a kind of it's a conflicting situation. But that is the purification of that, when we come together, isn't it? And tolerate each other with all our Prabhupada, he knew, Prabhupada was starting ISKCON, it was like a fledgling society at that time. And he knew people will come with a different, because Prabhupada was bringing different races together, white, black, isn't different from different countries. And naturally there will be conflicting situations. Prabhupada, what he said, tolerate, cooperate. Tolerate, and cooperate. Yes, that was. Of course, initially it was difficult. But the more we stay in Krishna consciousness, the more we get purified. The more we live with devotees, and we serve. We serve the devotees. He says to give up this envious nature, we should serve. We should serve. We all have this envious nature. We envious. Oh, why is he getting so much? Why is he getting a garland? I'm not getting a garland. Or why is he getting nice paneer and I'm not getting? So I'm just giving some. But generally it's like that. That conditioning is still there. But we have to go through that. We have to go through it. We have to tolerate. Like when they say, when diamonds in the rough, they're worthless, isn't it? Because they're all dirty and covered in mud and slime and all kinds of things. But when they're put together in a machine, oscillating machine, and they're revolving very fast in this machine, and eventually they all become polished just by rubbing against each other. And they become flawless. So using that analogy, and with devotees also, the more we're all rough. We're all coming, we are rough. Isn't it? Wild and rough. But that is the process. Krishna consciousness is the process for us to become. Prabhupada said a Vaishnava is a gentleman. A Vaishnava is a gentleman and a gentle lady. Vaishnavi. A Vaishnava is a gentleman. So we want to be seen like that. Not to increase our ego, no, but people will respect. You want to make an impact, you have to, You have to command respect. You don't expect respect if you don't have the credentials. We have to command respect by our behavior. Acharya. Acharya means one who teaches by example. A teacher who teaches by example. Acharya. And you study Srila Prabhupada's life. This is in true sense of he's Acharya. And of course the predecessor Acharyas also. Glorious. Their lives were free from vice. So not that we want to imitate, but we want to emulate. There's difference between imitating and emulating somebody. We're following their footsteps. We're following the footsteps, and that just by following in their footsteps, we also become glorified. Devotees become glorified just by their service. Prabhupada would say like this. In the early days, devotees will come, or people will join, and Prabhupada will initiate them. At that time, Prabhupada was desperate to increase them, start the movement. So people would come, and he would initiate them within 2 weeks, and then they will go back. They will go back to their material life, isn't it? And Prabhupada made a comment. He says, "It's not." He says, one who stays in Krishna consciousness, that is something. One who stays in Krishna consciousness, going through all these ups and downs of being, it's not easy. Spiritual life is not a bed of roses, it's as is. But when we come out of that, it's glorious. We see in the life of Narad Muni. Narad was under very dire circumstances. Before he became Narad Muni, he was the son of a Sudra woman, Vasha woman, just ordinary. But fortunate for him, he was in the association of great sadhus. And what the sadhus were doing, they were reading, every day reading Bhagavad Gita. And of course, they were taking prasadam. So Narad was in such association as a young boy. And just by that association, he became purified. Just by being in that association. Lord Chaitanya speaking, it was a nice verse, I always remember this. Bhakta Duli Bhakta. Bhakta Pada Duli Hara Bhakta Pada Jal. Bhakta Bhukta Havashesh Tina Marabal. What's the translation? Bhakta Pada Duli Hara. He said the dust from the feet of the sadhu, the dust, the remnants of footstuff, and the water that has washed the feet. These are very teen mar, bal. Bal means very powerful. These are three most powerful ingredients. When we take this and rub it on our head, or we take the water that has washed the feet of the sadhu, or the dust of his feet, or the remnants of foodstuff, Mahaprasad of the sadhu. So these are most powerful means to make advancement in spiritual life. So we should always anchoring, have that greed, that lobha for such things. And that way, we will always grow in Krishna consciousness. Just by, like Prabhupada physically is not present. Likewise all the other great acharyas, predecessor acharyas. But how we associate with them? By hearing about them. There's Vani and Vapu. There's two forms of the spiritual master, Vani and Vapu. Vani means the instructions that he has set forth, and Vapu is the form, the physical form of. So presently they no more existing. I mean, physically they not, but through the instructions we are associating with them. Prabhupada's purpose. We get affinity to hear Prabhupada's purpose. That is, we are associating with Prabhupada. That's how we are associating. Or with the previous acharyas, with the servants of Krishna, or with Krishna himself. Krishna is speaking Bhagavad Gita, and we're reading the very slokas that Krishna spoke, isn't it? We may not be very expert in pronouncing or enunciation, but doesn't matter. That's not the criteria. That is not the criteria. Just hearing will purify us. Will purify us. So the Mahatmas, there's another incident of, I don't know if you heard of Vidura. You heard of Vidura? You know who's Vidura? Yes? From the Mahabharata. Vidura is the son of Vyas, but is the brother of our brother, Dhritarashtra and Pandu. You know the history of it. So Vidura lived with the Kauravas, with Duryodhana, and he was the minister, like the prime minister kind of, but very, very pious, religious. But Duryodhana would always, but somehow, he had affinity for the Pandavas. He was attracted to the Pandavas, although he lived with the Kauravas. So Duryodhana, he saw this exchange of with the Pandavas, and you will criticize him, call him a spy and call him the son of a Sudra, insult him in such ways. And one day Vidura could not take it anymore, and he just walked out, never to come back. And he left that palace and he went on pilgrimage for 30 odd years. So during the battle, he was visiting all the holy places, and after the battle of Kurukshetra and everything, he's coming back. He's coming back to the Pandavas are the rulers, Yudhishthira is the king. But Dhritarashtra is staying with the Pandavas. The irony of that, Dhritarashtra wanted the very sons of Pandu killed so he could have his sons as rulers. But they all were dead. All his sons died, but he was the only one. But he became the guest of the Pandavas, and he was lapping all the glory and the adoration like that. But when Vidura came, but the first exchange between Yudhishthira, I'll read this verse. This is from there. This is from the 13th chapter. This is what Yudhishthira is telling to Vidura. He says, "My Lord, devotees like your good self are verily holy places personified. Because you carry the person of Godhead within your heart, you turn all places into places of pilgrimage." So this is wonderful. a gesture from Yudhishthira. When he met, the first meeting when after so many years, he's meeting him again. And Yudhishthira is like a sannyas, he's fired up, he's in his preaching mood. So Yudhishthira is paying homage to him. He says, wherever you go, that place becomes a place of a tirthapad. So this is the potency of the sadhu, of a powerful personality. And we see that in Prabhupada. Wherever Prabhupada went, that place became worship, isn't it? You go to 2nd Avenue, Prabhupada, 2nd Avenue in New York, or that Tompkins Square Garden where Prabhupada first chanted under that tree. The trees become, isn't it? What's it, like a national monument, isn't it? But it's there. Prabhupada sat under that tree. Of course, so many places in the West, Prabhupada went, and those became temples. Prabhupada opened in his time 108 temples. So this is the potency of a Mahatma. He can do 10 things like that. Okay. How much time we got? Hare Krishna, thank you very much. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you.
We've got time for some short questions. Anybody has some short questions?
Raghunath will answer your questions.
Questions for Raghunath Prabhu?
Directed to you.
Prabhu, you always have a question. So they ask Prabhu.
Not at the moment.
Anybody else? Prabhu, welcome. Master Prabhu. Kiran, welcome. Manuji, question? Question, Prabhu.
Yes.
Question.
Just simple inquiry by people. Why we don't pray Krishna to Lord Chaitanya? Very simple inquiry by people. So I asked them, I said, look, you go to the temple, you bow down to the priest first. I say, we also bow down to Lord Chaitanya first, and pray to Krishna. I tried to explain them. They haven't heard about Chaitanya. But yeah, I'm reading Bhagavad Gita. The Lord says he appeared as Avatar. And
Anyway, it's a good question. But the thing is, we first started the spiritual master, offering all obeisances. See, once you get knowledge about spiritual life, he has to approach a spiritual master. That chapter 4, text 34. Padvini Pranipatina, Pariprasthana Sevaya, Ubedastinti Gyanam, Gyanam Stadpadachina. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master and inquire from him submissively. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge into you because he's seen the truth. So when one surrenders to the spiritual master, then all the doors are open to understand who Krishna is, who Lord Chaitanya is. It's most important to have that spiritual master. And Jai Prabhu was talking about Vapu and Vani, physical association and instructions. It's like, Prabhupada gave a very simple example one day where you did a demonstration. He had there was a little silver deity in South India, and one of the devotees' daughter, Saraswati, he showed Saraswati this little silver murti, and then he put it in the back, he put it in the back, and then she started, then Prabhupada is telling her, asking her, where is Saraswati, where is the Krishna? Then she started looking for Krishna everywhere. It's like, when you lost money, you look at places where you didn't lose it. It's like that, She's looking so much in anxiety. But then after a while, she couldn't find it, and she was in anxiety. But she's a young girl. And then one of the devotees said, but who has Krishna? And then Prabhupada, he pulled Krishna out from the back and he gave it back to her. So it may look like a very simple, like pastime, but it has a very deep meaning that if you want Krishna, then you only can get it by the spiritual master. So then you will understand who Lord Chaitanya is. Lord Chaitanya is not understood by many Hindu people, and even in India also, because Gaudiya Vaishnavism was not so much exposed at that time, and still up till now people don't know it. And even in South Africa, people still don't know Lord Chaitanya. But if you want to enter Krishna's pastime, then you have to go through Lord Chaitanya, because you won't go, it's very difficult. So first we start with the spiritual master. Thank you, Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu, thank you so much. Prabhu, His Grace Jaisacinandana Prabhu ki.
Jai.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Prabhu.